sure I'm saying the things right. She is with Semper K9, and she is an awesome human being who is here today to give us all the things that we need to know about gardening. And last year, just so you know, Amanda, last year was the first year I did a raised garden bed. And it was beautiful. I loved doing it. It was so much fun. I learned a lot, made a lot of mistakes. I learned quickly what not to do, but I'm still learning. I'm still learning. And that's why we have you here today. And we're so thankful to
thank you, Maria,
for your knowledge.
Yeah.
So guys, let us know where you're watching from. Drop a comment in below. If you've got any questions for Amanda, put them in the comments. If she can't answer them right now, she'll go back and answer those questions.
Yes.
So Amanda, I'm going to kick it over to you, and tell us all about you, how you got started, all the things.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much, Maria. And you're right about your starting your garden last year. The best way to learn how to garden is to actually do it. It's one of those things that is the best for experience. You know, some things you can do all the research in the world, but until you actually do it, you won't know. And gardening is one of those things. So I'm Amanda Baity, like Maria said. I'm a former, I guess I'm still a military spouse. My husband was an Marine Corps combat veteran, is my husband now. We have founded an organization called Semper K9 Assistance Dogs in 2014. Is a 501c3 veteran service organization. And my husband was a working dog handler in the Marine Corps and a kennel master. So after 5 combat tours, he decided that Marine Corps life, going back to back deployments, was just not for our family. And we needed kind of a way for him to feel fulfilled. He had this unique skill set as a dog handler and a dog trainer and a kennel master that we rolled it into starting our own nonprofit where we train service dogs for disabled veterans at no cost to the families.
Oh,
and
yes, girl.
Yeah, thank you. And you may have seen us. We were featured on Mike Rowe's show, who just recently got canceled by Facebook Watch. Returning the Favor. It's a wonderful show. If you've never heard of Returning the Favor, check it out. Our episodes in season 2.
Well, they've got a great.
Yeah, they do. And you can, even though the show's canceled, all the shows are there. There's so many great bloody do-gooders, as Mike dubs all of our crew, out there doing great things in the world. So check them out. But we started that nonprofit in 2014 as a way for my husband to feel that his life meant something and that he made it back from all of these combat zones safely for a purpose. And his purpose was to help others who are struggling with PTSD just like him. So being a supportive spouse, of course, I'm all in. And our family has kind of embraced our whole Semper K9 volunteer and staff and our military families that we serve as a big, giant Semper K9 family. So when you have a big family like that, you've got to feed them. And I have been gardening my entire life since I was in diapers. My mom and my dad had a huge organic garden when I was a kid that that's how we got a majority of our food. We ate beans and cornbread a lot during the winter because we had a ton of beans that were put up in the pantry. So I've been gardening for a long time. And when we started Semper K9, we were renting a 50-acre farm and I had a garden. I had people help me when we first moved on to set up the garden. And I noticed as the military families were coming out to go to training, and majority of the time it was the husband and that was getting the training for the service dogs. We have lots of female veterans that we serve as well, but the majority of the time it is the male service member coming out, and his spouse and children come out because we welcome them all. We're all a big family. They wanted to help me in the garden. So we kind of developed this warrior garden. I call it the Semper Fresh Garden. We have this gardening space.
Semper Fresh, yes.
Yeah. We have this gardening space on our property. We're not on the rental farm anymore. We have our own property now, 33 acres, and we have a huge garden there. And it just kind of has turned into a community style thing for our Semper K9 family.
I love it.
And
you know that Samantha Milton from Oregon is watching, and she said,
"Hey,
that
Samantha,
your episode, Returning the Favor, and she loved it. It was amazing." And that you have
thank you.
So.
Thank you. They did such a great job with that, like showcasing what we do. with the serious side of it and highlighting mental health, which is huge in the military community, but also putting a fun spin on it and kind of making it kind of comedic. So it was really great. We liked it.
Awesome.
And that they built us a great pavilion. They surprised us with a pavilion out at the property, and that's where we have the garden space. So I have 1,200 square feet of gardening space in raised bed garden space because we have clay soil, and that's something I'm going to talk about in just a minute on when you're planning your garden. We have clay soil, and I say soil because I'm from the South. My husband, soil. My husband always, we're both from the same area, but he says soil, and I say soil. Anyway, so we have a raised bed garden. We also now have a 50-foot high tunnel, which is like a greenhouse space that we are growing in for the first season. I've kind of experimented with it over the winter. Now that we're about to be in the spring, I'm excited to grow more. And I also am starting this spring gardening classes for our veterans because many of them have started gardening just with a little bit of experience they've gotten in our garden, which is fabulous. That's why I hope I inspire all of you to start gardening. And so we're going to go right into it now that I've done my whole spiel. So if you're just joining us, be sure to catch the replay later because you'll get all the intro information that you just missed.
Okay.
So the three things I always hear when people want to start gardening as to why they're not going to: I don't have the experience.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the space to garden. Maybe you live on base, or maybe you're in an apartment.
Yeah.
I don't have the space, or I don't have it in my budget. And I'm going to solve all those problems for you right now.
Okay.
So those are the three main things we're going to talk about. So essentially, if you have $1, at least $1, which you could get by with doing all of this for free, but if you have $1, then I'm gonna hook you up with a garden, okay? So the first thing you want to do when you're gardening is find out your first estimated frost date.
All right, I'm
So you're gonna go
for you.
Yeah, Maria has a link here.
Okay.
I think it's almanac.com. You're gonna go to the Farmer's Almanac. You're gonna type in your zip code, and that's gonna tell you the estimated date that's your last frost. At that point, you can put seeds in the ground and they should be good to go. And all that's according to your seed package, which we're going to talk about in just a moment.
Okay, so the almanac is the first thing. Get past that last frost.
Right. And you can sign up for free newsletters on that website that'll give you some information based on your zip code. Like, hey, it's time to start this, or hey, double check this. It's time to fertilize, that sort of thing.
Perfect.
I've got lots of free resources for y'all coming up in just a minute. I love free stuff. So you're gonna find your last frost date. All right. Now that's set, you kind of have an idea of what your timeline is. Mine, I think, is April 16th. I'm outside of Quantico. So our 33-acre property borders Marine Corps Base Quantico on the northwest corner. So that's where I'm located. I know when my last frost date is. I can backdate all of my seeds that we're about to talk about to know when I need to start them indoors, like I have behind me here, or when I can put them in the ground outside. So let's go to your seeds, because that's the next thing you need to do, finding your seeds. Maria has a link to my blog that she'll put up, and it has a blog post that is my favorite places to find seeds online. But here are some other places you can find them: Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, and one of my favorites, the Dollar Tree. Look at this, 4 for $1.
Show me again. I went away. 4 for $1. That's a quarter a piece.
Yeah. And they have every type of variety. And I'm actually going to be giving some of these away later, so stay tuned to find out that information. 4 for $1. They have a huge display at the Dollar Tree, y'all.
Wow.
So this is the dollar that you're going to spend money on, because everything else I'm going to show you how to do for free. But if you have a bigger budget, or if you want a specific variety or something that's unique, which I love to buy, I love to grow things I can't buy in the grocery store. Because when you're gardening in the middle of summer and it's hot and you're sweating and you're dragging water hoses around to grow zucchini squash, and you go into the grocery store and it's like 25 cents a pound, 50 cents a pound, you're like, what in the world? Why am I busting my butt and sweating to grow something that I can get in the grocery store for cheaper than I'm actually spending on the seeds and my time investment.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, though I like to grow things that I can't buy in the grocery store. And I can chat later with some of y'all on some of the different things I grow.
And if you've got questions for her, please put them in the
Yes,
comments.
please do. Please do. And at the end, you'll know how to follow me on social media, and you can follow along throughout the entire season to see what I'm doing in my garden, how I'm growing my food, how I'm cooking it, how I'm saving it, that sort of thing.
Awesome. Jennifer also said, did the almanac predict this crazy Texas frost?
Actually, no, because we were supposed to have, well, at least in Virginia, we were supposed to have a mild February. And we've had a really colder than usual February, which, I mean, there's pros and cons of cold. I don't think that it predicted in the Texas area where y'all are, all of the wildness that's going on with this polar vortex.
Yeah, it is.
But
everywhere. We're here.
Y'all have snow, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right outside. It's pretty light coming in because the snow is bouncing it up, the light everywhere.
So we normally get snow in Northern Virginia. If you've ever been stationed at Belvoir or Quantico or anywhere, Annapolis, any of those along this area here, then you know that we do get snow. But we had consistent snow for 3 days in a row, which is very rare. And then we're supposed to get another storm later this week. So that was not predicted. That part, at least for us, was not predicted. So,
right, farmers get it together.
Yes. Yeah, what's y'all's deal? So like I said, you can go to Dollar Tree and get these 4 for $1. You can go to Home Depot, you can go to Walmart, you can look on my blog and check out some of those seed companies. Etsy, there's people that sell seeds on Etsy, or you can save seeds from the food that you're already buying at the grocery store. So that's free. That's a free place. You can save them from tomatoes. You know, it's a little bit harder to save them from tomatoes because you're actually eating the tomato and part of the seeds in there. But you can save seeds from your vegetables in the grocery store. You can buy organic potatoes. Yeah, see, and there's so many different ways to grow it. I think a lot of people do that with hydroponics. Yeah. They're using water to grow it. But there's so many things, and then that's going to lead us into the research side of it in a moment.
Organic potato. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so you can buy, last year, I normally buy seed potatoes. There's such thing as seed potatoes that are specifically meant for you to use to grow your potatoes. No one had seed potatoes last year because of COVID. Mm-hmm. All of the seed companies sold out really fast, which is wonderful. That means more people were growing their own food. That's exciting. We're all learning new things. But then for people like me who grow every year, I couldn't get the things that I was used to. So you go to the grocery store and buy organic potatoes because they're not sprayed with that chemical that stops them from eyeing out and growing. I don't know if you've ever bought organic potatoes or non-organic potatoes. One will start sprouting. Mm-hmm. That's probably the organic potato. And then one stays put for a little while without sprouting out so you can keep eating it. You can go get the organic potatoes and grow those. You can do it with sweet potatoes. You can do it with regular potatoes. Onions. I mean, there's all different things. Wild things.
Movie where the guy, the totally Mission Mars, I think it was, where he's a botanist and he makes potatoes on Mars.
Yes, I love that movie, and it's very accurate. And what he did is completely true. And you can use non-organic potatoes to do that. It just takes longer because they're sprayed with that growth prohibitor that's on there.
Thank you for sharing that. I didn't know that they did that.
Yeah, so I mean, you could do that if you have extra, like let's say you bought a bag of potatoes and you have extra, just throw them in the dirt and try, why not? Yeah, why not?
All right.
So now that I've told you where to source seeds from, now you got to do your research. So now you've got all this overwhelming internet full of information, books, all kinds of gardening books. My advice is to find a couple of YouTube channels that you like. Maria has another link that's back to my blog. There's another blog post on my favorite channels that I follow. And some of I don't even watch network TV that much anymore, very rarely. I watch YouTube if I have time for an hour or 30 minutes to sit down at night. I watch YouTube.
Yeah, here it says favorite garden channels to follow on YouTube. Thanks for the source.
Yes, of course, my YouTube channel's #1. Of course, I've got to plug myself. But
all the time, no worries.
yeah. So, but there's some other gardeners. A couple of them are in my area, so I know that's another tip. Find someone that's in your area that's YouTubing, and make sure if you watch YouTube, you know that you need to like the person's voice and their personality and their video style, or you're not going to want to watch it and you're not going to learn anything from them. So find someone. They don't have to be in your area. But if you find someone that is in your area that you really like, then you'll be able to follow along with their process and know this is what you should be doing too, based on your growing area. That's correct. That's correct.
Awesome.
And then another great resource is an app. Maria has a link to that. It's called From Seed to Spoon. And it's a free app you can download, and it gives you ideas about companion planting. That's where you're planting multiple different things together and adding flowers in to attract pollinators and your bees and beneficial insects that'll kill the pests that are going to damage that plant. So there's a lot of companion planting concepts out there, but think about it from the fact of just research. You can start small. You don't have to companion plant to begin. Sorry about that.
No worries.
You don't have to companion plant from the beginning. When I first started gardening on my own, I just planted carrots in one section and lettuce in one section. I didn't mix stuff together. I mix everything together now. I have dedicated garden spaces. Like this is my gardening plan for this year, where I have drawn out my garden. And I change this a lot, but I plant okra everywhere in my garden because it's a great companion plant with anything. And those are just things that you're going to learn by doing it. Just get out there and do it. The Farmer's Almanac is a great resource. And 2 other resources that you may not think of. If you have a farmer's market in your area, go to the farmer's market and talk to some of the gardeners that are selling there. What kind of stuff are you growing? When should I start this? I mean, they want you to grow. They want you to grow. They're advocates of that. They also want you to buy their food, but they want you to grow. You know, they're going to be a good resource for you because they're in your area. And then follow them on social media and see what they're doing, because a lot of those gardeners and farmers that are growing it and selling at the farmer's market, they're promoting what they're doing during the week. Oh, this week we're starting corn. Now you know you need to go start corn too.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's how to do your research now. You're kind of behind schedule, but research now because you still have time to do stuff. I'm already planting.
Okay, that was my question. You're already planting. How are you doing that?
So I'm planting. I have tomatoes, peppers, onions, and my herbs already started behind me. And that's because peppers, when it's time for them to go out after your first frost, you don't want to direct sow your pepper seeds because it just takes them so long. By the time that they're finally big enough to start producing peppers, it's going to be so hot in the middle of summer. You don't have to start from seed. You can go to Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, any of those places and buy the seed starts. Yep. But it is not as budget friendly. Like you can get, like you have, how many are in here? 25 seeds in here for 25 cents. When you go buy a pepper plant, that you're paying $3.50, $2.50 maybe if you're lucky. So that's per plant, and you're getting 25 here. Granted, you're not probably going to put all of these seeds in. You can save them for next year. But at the same time, you know, you've got to think about those things when you're planning out a budget.
I want to throw out another comment. Kevin says he likes to find natural wild things like wild ginger, ginseng, wild strawberries, rhubarb, and then that were planted generations ago in his state. I have never, actually, that's not true. I found wild blueberries once. Well,
and I will tell you, I'm kind of jealous that y'all have the huge rosemary bushes.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
and my husband,
I want the rosemary bushes.
Girl, my husband wants to take them out. He hates them. He's like, they're so big. I'm like, are you crazy? These are amazing. Good. Have you talked to him? All right, let's keep going. Thanks, Kevin, for the comment.
No, don't let him do it. Yeah, don't let him do it.
By Jen, she says she wants to grow her own because it's so much better than buying it in the store. Anyway, so awesome. Got some great conversations going on. I will keep you. Keep going. Keep going.
Yes.
Did
Okay.
I lose you?
I'm still
You
here
froze.
with you, right,
Okay, there you
Maria?
go.
Something has happened with my phone and hold on.
We
Do
hear
you still see
you,
me?
but you're frozen. You're frozen though. So, okay, I'm going to read what Kevin says
Okay, hold
until
on
you
just a second.
unfreeze.
I don't know what just happened.
No problem. I'm going to put up again some of the stuff that you've been talking about. So, again, first things first, get to your Farmer's Almanac and that's the first thing you need to do so that you find out when your last frost is. You're still frozen. You may want to exit out and come back.
Yeah, I'm going to close it.
I'll keep going.
I am. I'm working on it, y'all.
No problem. You know, tech, man, tech. Then I really recommend that you visit her blog. There's so much, I'm actually going to do that. There's so much great information on her blog, Raising Baities, to check out different resources, different things that you can do. And I think she has rejoined the broadcast. There she is. Yay.
So sorry about that.
No worries. You know, tech, it happens. I was just going over your blog again and having them, make sure to visit the blog. All the links are in the description. Everything that that she's talking about, all the links are in the description today. All right, continue, my friend.
Okay, so the next thing you need to worry about is where are you going to plant all of this stuff? Maria said she started a raised bed, which is also a great idea if you're renting to do raised bed gardens so that you can dismantle them and take them with you. Yep. So you're not tearing up the dirt and the ground in someone else's house. Maybe you're in an apartment and you need to do container garden. Pretty much everything that you can grow in an in-ground garden, you can grow in a container. I've seen people grow corn in a container on their balcony of their apartments. Yes, corn. I have a couple of things called a green stalk. It's there's one of the links that we'll share in a little bit. It goes to some of my Amazon favorites. It's a storefront of my Amazon must-haves. So we have a green stalk, and it's a vertical planter that you can grow on a balcony in your apartment complex. I mean, that's easy, and you can disassemble it and take it with you when you leave. So how much space do you need to grow? Find out how much space you have to grow and then plan like I did here. This is an actual drawing of my garden space for my in-ground garden, not my high tunnel garden, where I'm actually mapping out what I want to grow. On the back of your seed packets, it will tell you, which I don't know if y'all can read it, but it will tell you the height, the spacing requirements, how tall this plant is going to get, how many you need, how much space you need between each plant, and that's recommended to get the maximum amount of yield off of the plant. So the seed packet is something that has a lot of information about this variety. Make sure you're reading that when you're planning this out, because we're going to talk about that in a second too. But that's how you're going to determine how much space you need in your garden based on what it is that you are wanting to grow. And again, I like to pick things that you can't buy in the store, and I'm going to show you a couple of those in a minute. So that's your spacing requirements. If you have any specific questions about your spacing requirements or want some tips or advice, just comment and I'll come back through and answer them, or we can answer them right now. Okay.
All right.
So the next thing is, what tools do you need? And remember earlier I said if you had at least $1 or maybe even free, you could garden. So this is where the dollar was coming from, buying your seeds, 4 for $1. There's other places that have them 4 for $1. This was the Dollar Tree that I happened to go to, and I got these, and I'm going to give these away later. But let me show you something else you can use to garden. This is a produce container. Put your seeds in here, and you've created a little mini greenhouse.
Oh,
Sit it in the window.
Clever idea. That is such a clever idea.
Here's another one.
Yep.
Look at this.
Cilantro?
Yes, cilantro.
My favorite.
Yes,
nice.
Love cilantro with some fresh tomatoes to make you some salsa.
Girl, you're talking my game right now.
Here's another one. Solo cup. I mean, this is lettuce leaf basil. You can't buy this in a store. You rarely find it in farmers market. I grow this basil because it's my favorite, and you can't buy it anywhere. Well, I'm sure you can buy it somewhere, Somebody probably sells it. But here's another idea, free egg carton.
Yeah, and those you can actually, because they are biodegradable, you can plant it, correct?
Yes. You can plant them right in the ground. And guess what? I know all y'all have toilet paper
Girl.
rolls.
Yeah, that's the best.
This is you used it to cook with, or it was a leftover piece that came in something that you were cooking. Clean it out, cut your toilet paper rolls, put you some potting soil in there. The soil, soil is a hard thing. Don't start your seeds. If you're gonna start seeds, don't start them with the dirt that you're grabbing from outside. It's going to be too heavy. The soil needs light and fluffy. So you may have to buy some potting soil. You may live in an area that has peat moss, or you can go around and dig up some soil. Other containers that you can grow in as these get bigger, buckets, plastic buckets. There's a lot of restaurants that give them away.
Yeah.
Get on their email list, ask them. All they're going to do is tell you no, or think that you're a little weird for coming in and asking them for their buckets, but I'm sure they get asked by a lot of people.
Oh, no, I think that's fantastic. These are such great resources, and free is my favorite.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you already have this stuff. So who cares what gardening looks like unless you live in a space where they're like, you have to keep your yard tidy, and it's some kind of HOA requirement. Otherwise, who cares? You're growing food for your family.
That's right. Right now, my raised bed is covered in snow.
Yes, our high tunnel was covered in snow. I have some really pretty pictures on my Instagram, on my stories too, saved in my stories, of our high tunnel. It was so pretty with the snow over the top, and it just kind of falls off as it melts.
And I haven't shared, which I'm about to share right now. This is the Amazon.
Yes.
Of all your favorite things, but I'd like for you to tell folks so that they understand what affiliate link means and what you do with that. Can you talk about that?
So this Amazon store, if you click this link and you're looking at our favorite gardening must-haves, I think I have one for the kitchen too. If you purchase through that link, it is an affiliate link, and that means that we'll get a little bit of, I don't know how much money you make, like 1% or something, but that actually goes back to Semper K9, or nonprofit. You'll actually see it at the top. It says Semper K9 shop, storefront or something on it. Anytime you purchase through that affiliate link, it goes straight back to Semper K9. So any affiliate link that I may have in my personal blog or anything like that goes straight back to our nonprofit anyway. So,
and I wanted everybody to know that, because it's all the money is going to still help, and I think that's super important. So thank you.
Yes. Okay, so in that link that Maria shared is all of the seed starting trays. Let me show you some of them I use. So I use this. I grow microgreens too.
I love microgreens. Oh, yes, they grow so fast.
Let's see. Yeah, they do. I was trying to find one that I have readily handy. Oh, wait, I have one right here. Let me show you.
When I planted them last year, within 7 days, I could harvest.
Yes. So these are my sunflower microgreens right now.
Oh,
I planted them 3 days ago.
Nice.
Yep. So I actually have a weird allergy to greens. I can't eat lettuce and spinach and things like that. But I can eat microgreens. I don't know. I can't explain it.
Who knew?
But these are, if you have the budget to buy seed starting trays, this is something you can buy. It's in that link. That's something that I use all the time. I use them for my microgreens, and I actually use them for other purposes. You could put your little toilet paper roll things in there. You could put your produce containers inside of those to help prevent them from leaking water on the ground. I also use these. These are in that link too. So it's a seed starting tray with a self-watering tray. All of those are in the link. You don't have to have these to grow, but if you have it in your budget, these last so many years. I reuse them year after year. It's just nice for me to know that in this small amount of space, I'm going to be growing this many plants.
Exactly. And also, if you go to like your local, Home Depot or Lowe's, they sometimes have those, that they'll give them away because they've had them. They're coming from their farms, and they have them, and they're like, here you go, take them. So ask, guys, ask.
Yeah.
All right.
So once you have, hopefully I'm not freezing up again. It looks like I have a little bit of a slant because of this weather. Once you have started your seeds, You've started your seeds and you are ready to plant because your first frost date is gone. Then you're just going to plant them. It's that simple. Take them out into your space that you've prepared. You know, use compost if you compost. If you don't have a composting system in your house or a bucket, we use a little bucket from IKEA, like one of the little ones with the lids. We have two, one that we're collecting in and one that we take out to dump in the compost. That's a really easy thing to do to get free dirt that's nutrient rich. You can also get coffee grounds from like Starbucks or Panera or somewhere like that. They throw a ton of that stuff away. Coffee grounds are great for the garden and for your soil. So plant your seeds, plant your seedlings or your plant starts that you've bought from the hardware store. You're going to water them. A lot of times you're watering based off of this. You're going to look in that free app, Seed to Spoon, that I shared with y'all. It's going to tell you how often to water things. If something looks a little strange and you might need to fertilize it or fight some pests, all of that stuff is readily available on the internet at your fingertips. Follow these YouTubers that I suggested or find the ones that you like. They're going to give you all the information to grow and maintain your garden. One of my biggest failures as a gardener is not knowing when to harvest. Like, I know when to harvest, but I want to let it grow just a little longer, or maybe it's not ready yet. And then the next day, the next day it starts to die, or a bug has eaten it, and I knew I should have just picked it yesterday.
That happened to me with my tomatoes. We have a question I put on the screen. It says, "What do you think the shelf life is for packaged seeds?" That comes from Jen.
Okay, hi Jen. That's a good question. I typically am keeping I keep mine. I wish I'd have had it like readily available. You know, the little here's one. The little scrapbooking photo containers that go in the little briefcase. You can get them like at Michael's and Hobby Lobby. This is what I store my seeds in. If you keep them cool and dry, they will last a long time. I know people who have planted 100-year-old seeds that they have found that their grandmother saved, and they've planted them and they grow. Now, the longer...
100-year-old?
Yes. What? Well, that's... Yes. And a friend of mine who's also a military spouse just purchased her grandmother's home, and they're remodeling it. And she found a container that has seeds in it. And I told her just to grow them. Just grow and try it. But over the years, seeds will lose their ability to produce. So where you have a pack of seeds and you plant them all the very first year after they were saved, and 99% of them grow, each year that germination rate will drop. So, but if you take care of them, you know, the seeds I have, I normally grow within 3 years, and then I purchase new seeds. So, as long as you're taking care of them, all of them say store in a cool, dark, dry place. Pretty much every seed packet says that. Yeah. Right. So as long as you're taking care of your seeds, you don't have to necessarily freeze them unless you live in just such a hot climate that a lot of people put them in the refrigerator, keep them in there when they're not using them. You know, I've seen people do that. I don't do that. I don't typically have a problem with 3 to 5 years. After that, I'm pretty much going to get new seeds because I want to make sure that if I'm taking the time to plant 10 seeds, that I want all 10 of them to grow. Okay. And because of that reason, which is something that I encourage you all to do, I have a garden journal that I created that says, you know, how many of this did I grow? I grew X amount. When did they germinate? They germinated the way that they were supposed to within 5 days. I don't measure how much yield I get off the harvest, but I like to know if I bought this seed packet from Dollar Tree and only 5 peppers got out of this entire pack, then I'm probably not going to buy it next year. That's just for me personally to keep. And this company is actually out of Massachusetts, the American Seed Company that they sell at Dollar Tree.
And I've seen those same packets in other places.
Yeah, they sell them in other places too. Ace Hardware, True Value, Tractor Supply. Tractor Supply is always my go-to place. I love Tractor Supply.
Well, I want to make sure that we get everything just because of our time. We want to share if there's any last bit things you want to share, and then talk about your giveaway.
Yeah, so the last two things I actually have on my list is harvesting them, which we touched on. You know, I always say harvest them when they're ready for what you want to use them for or how you want to eat them. Because, oh, how do I know when my pepper's ready? It's ready when you want to eat it. If it looks like that's the size pepper you want, then pick it. There's only a handful of things that need to completely ripen, like a cantaloupe and melons and pumpkins if you're going to eat the pumpkins, which we don't grow pumpkins to eat. We just grow them for decoration. But all of those things, there are certain timelines, but for the most part, pick it when you're ready to eat it, when it looks like you want to eat it. And then preserving and eating your harvest. There's so many great recipes out there for farm to table, and I'm going to be sharing some of those throughout the season as I'm harvesting my garden. But like, I wanted to give an example, this viral feta pasta that you see everyone talking about that's on TikTok. I made the feta pasta. I made it 2 weeks ago with tomatoes from my garden that I froze. So I used a freezer vacuum seal machine that I have, and I froze some cherry tomatoes, and I have tons of them in my refrigerator. So just because you get an abundance of something, you can can it, you can freeze it, you can dehydrate it. There are lots of ways to preserve it. You don't have to have special equipment to do it. My mom, I just bought her a vacuum sealer for the first time. She used to put everything in the Ziploc bag and suck the air out with her mouth. That's all. But they have inexpensive ways to do that. Yeah. So essentially, that is pretty much all you need to really get started in the garden, because at the end of the day, you doing it is what's really going to give you the knowledge, because your neighbor's garden is not going to grow like your garden. Not exactly. Your soil's going to be different. They might get a little bit more rain than you. They may have more pest damage than you, and you're right next door. So really, all the research in the world is going to help you troubleshoot. But until you just get out there and do it, that's the only way you're really going to learn.
Yeah, and that's what we felt last year. We just had to get out there and get our hands dirty and figure it out. And my sriracha peppers grew. They were awesome. My scorpion peppers did not. They never, ever grew. But I learned too much water.
Scorpion peppers, it could be that.
Yeah, they needed like very little water. And
so you separate those out and don't plant them near each other, or plant them in a different space. And this bed needs a lot of water and this one just needs a little bit. So
exactly.
It's just trial and error.
Go over your giveaway and what they need to do, guys.
So I have a giveaway. I'm going to give y'all I'm going to give away this pack of seed set that I got from Dollar Tree. I'm going to also give away some of my favorite seeds to grow. Woo! I'm going to give away a starter kit that has the seed tray and some seeds and some what else was I going to put in it? I forget what all I'm going to put in it, but it's going to have some good stuff in it. And then I'm going to give away 2 copies of my children's book that I just wrote, which I don't have, not gardening related, but it is military related. I don't have a copy of it here with me. Oh well. I'm going to give away 2 of those. All you have to do to enter is subscribe to my YouTube channel. I think Maria has a link to that. It's raisingbabies.tv.
Yep, all the links are in there in the post.
And subscribe, you get 2 many bucks. Right. Subscribe to my newsletter, which I'll be sharing gardening stuff, but I'll be sharing other things that aren't garden related. I'll share stuff about Semper K9 and all the other projects that we do here at Camp Semper K9. So that's how you enter. That's all you got to do to enter. And be sure to follow me on social media if you want to follow along on the journey.
Absolutely. I want to make sure, because you froze a little bit, so I want to make sure that everyone understood to subscribe to your YouTube channel and subscribe to your newsletter on your website, on your blog, and that gives them 2 entries. If you do both things, that gives them 2 entries. Follow along, absolutely, on social media, because there's just going to be so much tips all season long. I'm going to be there, girl. When are you going to close out this giveaway, so we know?
Let's see. Today is Monday. What do you think? 7 days? Next Monday?
7 days. Next Monday.
Okay. Next Monday.
We'll announce the winner.
Yeah.
Okay. So if y'all are watching the replay, you know what you've got to do in order to win this starter kit to get your garden going. Amanda, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Guys, if you've got any more questions or
Yes.
anything, please leave them in the comments. And thanks for being with us on Maker Monday.
Yeah, bye y'all. Have a good, warm, hopefully Monday.
Yeah, a little snow here, but okay. All right, we'll see you guys. Bye.